Have you ever run to catch the bus or just been playing really hard outside and suddenly you're gasping for air? Your heart's just pounding in your chest?
Yeah, we've all been there.
And it makes you wonder, why? Why does that happen? Well, today we're going to dive deep inside the human body and uncover the absolutely amazing science behind every single breath you take. So let me introduce you to Bujo. He was in a massive hurry to meet his grandparents at the bus stop. I mean, he ran as fast as his legs could carry him, and phew, he got there just in time. But he was totally out of breath. His grandmother noticed him breathing super fast and just asked, "Why are you breathing so fast?" Bujo told her he'd roam the whole way, but that simple question, it really got him thinking. And that right there is the big mystery we're going to solve together today. Why does running, or really any kind of heavy exercise, make us breathe so much faster? Let me tell you, the answer is way cooler than you might think. Okay, you ready? Let's dive in.
To find our first clue, we need to zoom in. No, I mean way, way in. The secret isn't just hanging out in our lungs. It's actually hidden deep inside the tiniest parts of our bodies, our cells. Think about this. Every single one of your trillions of cells is like a tiny microscopic power plant. And the process they use to generate all that power is called cellular respiration. Basically, they take the fuel from the food you eat, this simple sugar called glucose, and they break it down to release the energy that lets you do everything. Run, jump, think, even just sleep. Now, what's really fascinating is that our cells actually have two different ways to make power. The main method, the one they use most of the time, is called aerobic respiration. That one uses oxygen to unleash a ton of energy. But, and this is the cool part, they also have an emergency backup plan for when oxygen is running low. That's called anaerobic respiration. It's not nearly as efficient, but it gives you a quick burst of energy when you absolutely need it. You ever wonder why your muscles get so sore or even cramp up after a really tough workout? Well, this explains it perfectly. When you're going all out, your muscles are screaming for more energy than your breathing can supply oxygen for. So what do? They switch over to that emergency power, anaerobic respiration. The only catch is, this process creates a waste product called lactic acid. And when that stuff builds up, it causes that burning feeling and those cramps. Ouch! That's why a good cool down is so important, by the way. It gives your body time to clear all that lactic acid out. Okay, so for our main high-efficiency power, our cells need oxygen, a lot of it, especially when we're active. But how in the world does that oxygen get from the air all the way into our cells? Well, that's where our incredible breathing machine comes into play. When you really boil it down, breathing is this beautifully simple exchange. You take in air that's full of the oxygen your cells need, that's inhalation, and then you push out air filled with a waste product, carbon dioxide, and that's exhalation. It's this continuous, nonstop process that keeps you going, all day, every single day. And here it is. This chart right here is the answer to Bujo's question. Look, when you're just chilling out, your body doesn't need a ton of energy, so you breathe about 15 to 18 times a minute. But the second you start running, your cells are demanding more energy, which means they need more oxygen, right? So your body automatically cranks up your breathing rate all the way to 25 times a minute or even more to meet that demand. Just like that, mystery solved. Let's actually feel how this works. Try this with me. Take a big, deep breath in right now. Go on. Can you feel that? Your rib cage moves up and out, and this big muscle under your lungs, called the diaphragm, moves down. All of that makes the space in your chest bigger, which creates a kind of vacuum that just pulls air right into your lungs. How cool is that? All right, now breathe out. See? Everything just happens in reverse. Your ribs move down and in, your diaphragm moves back up. This squeezes the space in your chest, and that pushes the air right back out of your lungs. It's this perfect, coordinated movement. And check this out. The air you breathe out is totally different from the air you breathe in. So the air all around us is about 21% oxygen, but the air we exhale, it's only about 16%. Your body used up that difference. And now look at carbon dioxide, CO2. We breathe in almost none of it, but we breathe out air that's over 4% CO2. That's all the waste, the exhaust from those billions of tiny power plants in your cells. So, we've cracked the code for how humans breathe, but, we're not the only ones on this planet who need oxygen. So let's zoom out for a minute and take a quick tour to see how other amazing creatures solve the exact same problem. Life has found so many incredible ways to figure this out. You've got earthworms who just breathe right through their moist skin. Insects, they have this whole network of tiny tubes connected to special holes on their sides called spiracles. Fish use those amazing gills to pull oxygen right out of the water. Frogs are super adaptable. They can use both lungs and their skin. And get this, even plants breathe. Their leaves have tiny little pores called stomata, and their roots can actually absorb air from the soil. Amazing!
All right, you have learned a ton about how all of this works. So I think you're ready for a little challenge. Let's see what you've learned with a quick pop quiz. You ready?
Okay, first question. In cockroaches, air enters the body through, is it eye lungs, eye gills, or eye sparkles?
If you said in 3 spiracles, you got it. That's how insects get oxygen into that whole network of air tubes. Nice work. Question number 2. During heavy exercise, we get cramps in the legs due to the accumulation of, is it I, carbon dioxide, II, lactic acid, or I3, alcohol? Think back to that emergency power mode.
That's right. It's lactic acid. That's the waste product from anaerobic respiration that makes your muscles feel sore. You are on a roll. Okay, last one for you. During exhalation, so when you're breathing out, the ribs, do they I move outwards, I move downwards, or I move upwards?
You got it. The answer is I, move downwards. They move down and in to help squeeze the air out of your lungs. Fantastic work. You've officially aced the breathing quiz. And here's one last absolutely mind-blowing fact to leave you with. For us, and for most animals, oxygen is the key to life, right? But for some organisms out there, the ones that only use that anaerobic respiration we talked about, oxygen is actually toxic. Yeah, it's literally poisonous to them. Isn't that incredible? Breathing is just one of thousands of amazing processes happening inside you at this very second. Thanks for solving this mystery with me today. Keep asking those big questions and always, always stay curious.